Hi, my name is Carla Minchello, and I'm the Director of Financial Assistance at Bentley University. And today I'm here to talk about the financial aid process at Bentley with you. At Bentley, we know that just thinking about how to pay for college can be overwhelming. And for most families, it's not a one-size-fits-all proposition. Some families will use past income or savings to pay for an education. Some families will use their present income by making monthly payments out of their salary. Some families will qualify for financial aid that can be either need or merit-based to help them with the expense. And some families will use their future income by taking student or parent loans that can be repaid once the child gets out of college. The cost of attendance at any institution usually consists of both direct and indirect costs. Direct costs are those things you would usually be billed for on your tuition account, such as tuition, fees, and room and board. There are also indirect expenses that students need to cover for books and supplies and their personal spending expenses while they're at school. The direct and indirect expenses together make up the total cost of the institution, and that is what we use to determine how much need a family has for financial assistance. Here at Bentley, for the current academic year, tuition is $39,600, fees are $1,510, a standard room is $8,085, a standard board plan is $5,360, and then for personal expenses, we estimate that a student will typically need $1,175, and we estimate that most students will need about $1,200 for books. Those are our expenses for the current academic year, but keep in mind that our tuition and fees can sometimes go up each year, and a typical increase is between 3.5% to 4%. I want to encourage you that if you have questions during our presentation to please type them in, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. When it comes to looking at colleges and considering how much you might need to pay, you may not always want to look at the sticker price that a school publishes in their brochures, because many families will pay a net cost that is lower than the sticker price when you factor in financial aid that they may qualify for. So at most schools, the cost of attendance minus whatever financial aid you receive equals the net cost that you will actually pay. We have an example of a typical net cost that a Bentley student might pay based on our current incoming freshman class. So for the current academic year, our total cost is $56,930, and the average grant and scholarship package that many students receive is $25,200. In addition to that, many students will borrow loans and work study in the amount of $4,400. Work study is a fund that can be given as part of a financial aid package that allows students to work on campus and earn spending money, which can be used for the personal expense portion of their indirect costs. If you take the cost of attendance and subtract our average grant and scholarship and loans and work study, the average net cost that a student would pay is $27,330 for one academic year. Now keep in mind that because these are averages, some of our students will receive more financial aid than in this example, and some of our students will receive less. Here we have an example of how a family might choose to pay their net cost using several different options. So first of all, if a family is lucky enough to have some money put away in savings in the student's name or the parent's name, they could make some payments out of that. As in this example, where a student is using $2,000 of their savings and a parent is using $5,000 of their savings and investments. Then the family might want to consider using present income to cover a portion of the cost. And in this example, they're making $500 a month monthly payments to a 10-month plan to cover $5,000 of the cost. Then the remaining costs could be covered using an education loan, such as a parent loan. You can choose to use a combination of these different options, or you may choose just one or the other. For example, you might choose to borrow the entire amount you need for your balance, or you might choose to pay the entire thing out of savings if you have that money available to you. Here we have some other facts that we wanted to make you aware of here at Bentley. For example, the average need-based package for an incoming freshman covers 95% of their need. About 3/4 of our students receive some type of financial aid in the forms of grants, loans, or scholarships. For the incoming freshman class, 1/3 of those students received merit scholarships based solely on academic achievement and not based on financial need. To qualify for merit scholarships at Bentley, you'll be automatically considered as part of the admission process and do not need to file a separate application. But we typically recommend that you file for need-based aid as well, since many families are unsure of what they'll qualify for during the first year. I should also mention that merit scholarships are available in limited quantities to international students at Bentley, but need-based financial aid is not. So international students should not go through the need-based application process. You do need to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident to qualify for need-based aid at Bentley. And finally, we wanted to let you know that our student loan default rate on federal loans is less than 1%. This is a good indication that our students are able to repay their loans when they get out of school, and also that the amount of loans that we put in our financial aid packages is usually reasonable for students to manage. When it comes to applying for financial aid at Bentley, here are the steps you should follow. In January of the year that you plan to start at Bentley, you'll want to complete the free application for federal student aid. You can do this at FAFSA's website, which is fafsa.gov. We also require families to complete the College Scholarship Profile form, and you can do that at the College Board's website, which is collegeboard.com. Once you have filed your applications, you should send us copies of your tax returns once they are filed for that year, along with W-2 forms. And in some cases, we may request additional information from you. For example, if your parents are divorced or separated, we will ask the non-custodial parent that you do not live with to send in a non-custodial form to us. Also, if you or your parents own a business or part of a business, we'll ask you to complete a supplement to provide additional business information to us. Here are a few other helpful tips as you go through the financial aid application process. Apply on time, and here at Bentley, our priority deadline is February 1st. So if you can, get your FAFSA and profile at least in by those dates, and then we'll contact you if we need additional information. It's also good if you do your applications online, because those forms are specially designed to make the application process easier by feeding you questions based on your answers to previous questions. If you haven't yet filed your tax returns at the time that you're completing your financial aid applications, it's a good idea to estimate your income so that you can get the forms in by the deadline. You can then go back into the FAFSA and Profile websites and update with actual tax information later on. And if you need help when you go through this process, please feel free to contact our office. We'd be happy to help you with questions about the forms or walk through the process with you. We also have information on our website that you might find useful, such as more detailed information about the different types of financial aid we offer at Bentley, links to the forms you'll need to complete to apply for financial aid, a chart of our application deadlines so that you don't forget any of them, and information on how to reach us. And you can see our website listed up here on the slide. So that's it, except for answering any questions that we may have. So we have a couple here that we'll answer, and if you have any, please feel free to type those in and we'll be happy to answer them for you as well. So we have a question about, I have a really complicated financial aid situation. Is there a place to explain it on the financial aid forms? The CSS profile has a box where you can put information down about special circumstances your family may be experiencing at the time that you go through the financial aid application. And special circumstances can include things like a loss of income or employment, unusual medical expenses that aren't covered by insurance, other unusual expenses that you can't put on the form anyplace, or a major change to your family such as a recent divorce or a recent death in the family. We encourage you to contact our office to discuss special circumstances such as those so that we can let you know what additional documentation might be required. Here's another question. Do I have to pay my loans while I'm in school? Most of the loans that would be offered as part of a financial aid package, such as federal Stafford loans, can be deferred while you're in school, and you'll begin making payments on those typically 6 months after you get out of school. Depending on the type of loan you're awarded, interest may be accruing during that time, or it may be deferred as well. Parent loans that many families choose to take to cover the balance that financial aid doesn't cover may also result in the ability to defer the loan while you're in school and until the student gets out of school. We have a question about whether overseas students can apply for financial help or a scholarship. If you're referring to the fact that you're an international student, when you apply for admission at Bentley, you'll be considered automatically for merit scholarships. But unfortunately, there is no other need-based aid that is available to international students. If you are a student living overseas who has U.S. citizenship or permanent residency in the U.S., then you may go through the need-based application process to be considered for need-based financial aid at Bentley. Another question we often get is, will I get the same financial aid each year? You will have to reapply for financial aid each year that you're attending Bentley, and it's possible that your financial aid could change if your financial circumstances change. The types of things that typically cause changes to financial aid packages are things like a change to the number of family members attending college at the same time, a change to income of the parent or the student, or a major change in the investment level of the parent or the student. A final question we often get asked is, are there jobs available on campus? The best way to get a job on campus is to go through the financial aid application process and see if you qualify for federal work study, which is a need-based employment program here on campus. Unfortunately, we don't have enough jobs on campus to hire every student that wishes to work. Students who receive federal work study will get priority in the on-campus hiring process, but there is sometimes additional jobs available that students without work study can apply for. We have a student employment website at Bentley, and if you choose to come here, you can access jobs through that website. Here we have a question about what are the requirements or standards for a merit scholarship. Merit scholarships are typically awarded to the Office of Admission. Awarded by the Office of Admission, and they're based on the criteria that's part of your admission application. So they'll be looking at things like test scores, the courses that you're taking, your grades in those courses, and typically students that rank somewhere near the top of the applicant pool may qualify for the merit scholarships that are available. Merit scholarships at Bentley can range from 1/3 tuition to 1/2 tuition, and then we have a very limited number of full tuition scholarships. As we mentioned before, you do not need to complete a separate application or a need-based aid application to be considered for a merit scholarship. If you receive a merit scholarship when you're admitted to Bentley, the scholarship will be renewable each year based on you maintaining a certain grade point average. Well, I think that may be it unless we have some additional questions. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope that you found this information helpful. Please feel free to contact the Financial Aid Office at Bentley if you have any additional questions, and go to our website and look at the different information that's available there.